Welcome back, everybody, to another lesson. Today we are going to talk about variables with fractions, and this is going to be titled Variables with Fractions Part 1. The reason that there's going to be a Part 2 later is when we go to add and subtract fractions, but today we're focusing on multiplying and dividing fractions with variables. So let's start with an example here. I have 4/5 x equals 60. So I have 4/5 times x equal to 60. Another way you may see it written, you may also see it written as, come on, erase. You may see it written as 4x all over 5 equal to 60. You may see either notation. How I prefer to do it, though, personally, is going to be that 4/5 times x equal to 60. So the goal is, of course, to get x by itself. How do we do that? Because we have 4/5. Well, you multiply by the reciprocal. That's all you got to do. Multiply by the reciprocal. So if we multiply by the reciprocal, but remember, what we do to one side, we got to do to the other. So if we multiply by the reciprocal, the 5's will cancel out, so will the 4's. You'll be left with x by itself. X will equal 60 times 5/4. Okay, now we need to ask ourselves, are there any factors of 4 that go into 60? Actually, yes. It goes in 15 times. So you would have 15. Let's make it a little bit bigger, eh? 15 times 4, because that's 60's over 1. Over 1 times 5 all over 4 times 1. So then we could say that the 4's cancel. Then you're left with 15 over 1 times 5 over 1. Well, what is 15 times 5? The answer to that is 75. So x in the end will equal 75. And that would be your final answer. You could put it into the equation and check, but x does in fact equal 75. You could check, you cannot check, it's up to you, it's up to what your teacher wants. So just keep all that in mind. Alright, we have another one here. 3/2 t equals 90. So how are we going to get t by itself? We're going to multiply both sides by 2/3, the reciprocal of 3/2. So let's multiply by 2/3. But what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Okay. So then the 2's will cancel, the 3's will cancel. You'll be left with t by itself. That'll be equal to 90 times 2/3. So 3 goes into 90 how many times? It goes in 30. So you'll have 30 times 3 all over 1, because 90's over 1, times 2 all over 3 times 1. Those are your factors of 3. Well, we have a common 3 that'll cancel out. So now we have 30 over 1 times 2 all over 1. Well, the over 1's are always going to be that number, so it's just 30 times 2. It turns out t is going to equal 60. In the end, t will equal 60, and that would be your final answer. I got more. Alright, I got 5/3 y equals 10/3. 5/3 y equals 10/3. So again, we want to get the y by itself. So what are we going to do? Multiply by the reciprocal of 5/3. That'd be 3/5. 3/5, and then do that to the other side too. Alright, well the 5's will cancel, so the 3's, you'll have y by itself. Y will equal 10/3 times 3/5. So then the 3's will obviously cancel. Then you'll be left with 10/5. Well, 10/5 is the same as 10 divided by 5. Remember, fractions are the same as division, so you're left with y equals 2. And that would be your final answer. Alright. We got 4/9 m equals 8/3. So 4/9 m equals 8/3. Again, we want to get that m by itself, so we got to multiply by the reciprocal, which would be 9/4. So multiply both sides here by the reciprocal. 4's will cancel, so will the 9's. You'll have m by itself. That's going to be equal to 8/3 times 9/4. Alright, so let's deal with the 8 and 4 first when we're factoring. So 4 goes into 8 how many times? Twice. So you'll have 2 times 4 over 3 times 9 all over 4 times 1. So we got common 4's that are going to cancel. So that's going to leave you with 2/3 times 9 over 1. But we can definitely cancel a 3 from a 9, can't we? Because 3 goes into 9 3 times. So we will continue here. We have 2 over 3 times 1 times 3 over 1. Well, we see that we have a common 3 that's going to cancel. So now you're left with 2 over 1 times 3 over 1, which would just equal 6. So m equals 6. That would be your final answer. Alright, what's next? Alright. 25/36x equals 5/12. Alright, so again, we have a problem here. We want to get the x by itself, so we need to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 25/36 is 36/25. That's the reciprocal. So we'll do it to the other side also. Okay, so the 36's will cancel, the 25's will cancel. You'll have x by itself. Okay, so we see here we have a 5 and a 25 we can start with canceling. A shortcut is, too, instead of having to list factors every time, you know that 5 is a common factor to 5 and 25, right? You can divide both of those by 5. So if we divide 5 by 5, you'll get 1. It'd be 1/12 times 36 over 5. Because if you divide 25 by 5, you get 5. It's going to be shorter if you know what the factors already are and can do the division to just do it that way, as opposed to sitting there listing factors every single time. Okay. Well, we still have to deal with the 36 and 12, don't we? Well, again, we can do division. We know 12 goes into 36 how many times? 3. So 36 divided by 12 is 3. So you'll have 1 over 1, because you divided by 12, times 3 over 5. Because 36 divided by 12 is 3, and you'll get 3/5. So, looks like x equals 3/5. It's a lot easier than trying to sit there and list out factors every time. I think we have a good enough grip on factoring now that we can just do the division. Alright. You have 4/5 p equals 8/15. Again, we have 4/5 p. We want to get p by itself. We want to get rid of that 4/5. How to do that is multiply by the reciprocal, which would be 5/4. So then again, we're going to do it to the other side too. So the 4's here cancel, the 5's cancel. You're left with p by itself. Okay. Let's deal with the 8 and 4 first. 4 goes into 8 how many times? Twice. So you'll be left with 2/15 times 5 over 1. Because if you divide 8 by 4 and 4 by 4, you get 2 for that and 1 for that. So we've already simplified a little bit. Now we need to deal with 5 and 15. So 5 goes into 15 how many times? We divide 15 by 5, we get 3. So that's going to be equal to 2/3 times, if we divide 5 by 5, we get 1, times 1 all over 1. So p is going to be equal to 2/3. And that will be your final answer. Got a couple more here. I have 8/7 n equals 360. Alright, 8/7 n equals 360, so I want to get n by itself. I multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which would be 7/8. Okay, well the 8 will cancel, 7 cancel, you'll have n by itself. Trick is, does 8 go into 360 evenly? Well, if we're unsure, we can always do long division on the side. Let's do some long division here. 360 divided by 8. 8 goes into 36 4 times. 4 times 8 is 32. 36 minus 32 is 4. Bring down the 0. 8 goes into 40 exactly 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. We have a remainder of 0, so yes. 360 goes, 8 goes into 360 exactly 45 times. So if you divide the 8 by 8, you'll get 1. The 360 divided by 8, you will get 45. So then you'll have 45 times 7 over 1. Alright, well, we can't factor anything else out. Now we just simply need to figure out 45 times 7, because the over 1 is just 7. So 45 times 7, 5 times 7 is 35. So carry the 3. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 3 is 31. So looks like n is going to be equal to 315. And that would be your final answer. I think I got another one here. Alright. 5, 6y equals 120. Alright, so 5, 6y equals 120. Well, to get y by itself, we need to multiply by the reciprocal, which would be 6/5. But then we got to do it to the other side also. So 5's cancel, 6's cancel, you're left with y by itself. Let's deal with the other side here. Does 5 go into 120 for canceling out purposes? It does exactly 24 times. 120 divided by 5 is 24. Then you'll have still the 6 there. Well, we divided 5 by 5 also, so that's 1. Now you're simply left with you're left with 24 times 6, which turns out it's going to equal 144. So yeah, y equals 144, and that would be your final answer. So let's do a little review here. Let's say I had 3x equal to 24. Well, if you have a whole number, you still multiply by the reciprocal. To get rid of that 3, it's going to be times 1/3. And you do the same to the other side. So then the 3's will cancel out. You just have x by itself, which would be equal to 24 divided by 3. What's 24 divided by 3? 8. And that would be your final answer. So whenever you have fractions that's also equal to division, it's a lot easier than sitting there and listing every single factor. So that's another trick for dealing with these problems where you got to factor them. Okay, so next lesson's going to be about least common multiples of numbers. We will see you next lesson. Have a good day, everybody.